What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole? If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your day to be here, get involved with the channel, be on Twitter, Discord, everywhere you are. You're amazing, and do not forget that. You best not forget that, or I will be coming for you.
Ooh, you're hard.
Much love, guys, and let's get started. That almost sounded a bit sinister. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for telling my daughter to get a payday loan? Yes. I, 35 female, have a 19-year-old daughter. For the past 5 years, I have been dating my current boyfriend. We have a 4-year-old son together, and I moved into his house after our son was born. He's pretty fiscally successful, and I don't work. I admit I haven't always been a good steward of money, and he's been burned in the past by people overspending his money, so we agreed that I'd have a set amount I could spend on myself. He pretty much knows what I spend my money on, but doesn't usually say anything unless I'm spending too fast or if I end up buying stupid things. However, one point of contention between us is in regards to my daughter. When we moved in, he helped my daughter enroll in a local Christian boarding school with good arts program, which my daughter wanted. However, she dropped out at the start of senior year, when she said the teachers were mean and the work was too hard. My boyfriend said this disappointed him beyond what could be expressed in his words. He barely spoke 2 words to her after she moved back into the house, and my daughter moved out when she was 18 with her now fiancé. She is now pregnant despite the fact that both her and her fiancé, 21 male, have no steady employments. Her fiancé works part-time at a fast food place and she cleans houses. She called me the other day and said she wanted to go to urgent care because she was experiencing ringing in her ears, but that they were $150 short to pay for the potential trip there. She said this was a one-time ask and she had paid me back, but said she couldn't give me a definite date of exactly when. I tried to in the past bring up the possibility of my boyfriend giving my daughter another chance, but he shut the conversation down. I know that if I Venmo'd my daughter the money, my boyfriend had a 90% chance of flipping out and saying that was not what he wanted his money spent on. I asked my daughter if this was a one-time medical visit, if she or her fiancé couldn't just go to the local Advance America and get a payday loan. My daughter started complaining that the store seemed like a shady place and she didn't want the interest. I told her she had to accept interest because my boyfriend would agree that she was a risky borrower and this was his money, so I couldn't antagonize him by using it in ways that would probably dismay him. I told her to look into the payday loan because I couldn't help her. Am I the arsehole? You was the arsehole in the title, I'm afraid, and you carried on being the arsehole all the way through, I'm afraid, as well. I totally disagree with payday loans. I think they're predatory services that prey on people, that send people further down the shit rabbit hole and then cause them all sorts of issues in the future. And not just money issues, mental health issues as well. And I really enjoyed this comment from Alert Potato as well, which says, "You're the arsehole. You're pretty fucking judgy about your daughter's life circumstances for someone who was a teen mum who admits to a lifetime of being irresponsible with money. While you don't really owe your daughter anything as she's an adult, abandoning her to play house with a new family is pretty fucked up." And therefore the comment says, "What the fuck? Yes, OP, you're the arsehole. She's a risky borrower. It's $150 so that she can seek medical care. This is your daughter and you're not allowed to help her with a small amount of money for medical care because your boyfriend might get mad. It sounds like you probably failed your daughter in a few different ways. There's a lot of information missing, but all the signs point to a mum who prioritized her boyfriend over a child. Edit, if spending $150 for your pregnant daughter to get an urgent care would antagonize your boyfriend, maybe consider a job and a new boyfriend. Also, those loans are super predatory. Stop giving out terrible financial advice. Second edit, if your daughter needs money for an Uber ride or something, can you take her yourself or have a friend drive her? I seriously hope she doesn't follow your loan advice." And Kitty Bark says, you're the arsehole. You were 35 with a 19-year-old daughter and had a kid with a person you'd only been dating a year prior. You said your boyfriend didn't speak to your daughter much after she moved back home, before turning 18 after dropping out of a Christian boarding school he got her into. And you're fine with a grown man acting so childish towards your daughter. You admit that you don't work and have been bad with money in the past and now rely entirely on him. And now when your daughter needs medical attention, you won't help her because your boyfriend would get mad. Doesn't sound like you should be judging your daughter so harshly. Sounds like you should be judging yourself. Now, what do you guys think of this situation? Obviously, it's going to be an arsehole because suggesting a payday loan in the first place is absolutely disgusting in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not learning the signs of low sugars from my stepdaughter? I married my husband when Danny was 16 and she's now 19. We've unfortunately never gotten along, mostly because she's irritable and moody. I was hoping she'd grow out of it, but she turns 20 in April and it doesn't look likely. Danny got diagnosed type 1 diabetic in 2019. From what I understand, she handles it brilliantly. Danny came downstairs yesterday, moody as per usual, and the only weird thing was that it was 7 AM rather than her usual 9 AM. I spoke to her and got ignored, and that was it. She stormed into my bedroom earlier and she started going absolutely ballistic about how I didn't recognise she was having a low blood sugar and how I never do, etc. Thing is, she's an adult. If she needs help, she can ask. She hasn't had a seizure. Neither her dad or her brother recognise the symptoms either. I told her she can ask for help or as an adult can handle them herself, which I think is simple, and it's not as though I've never filled a parental role towards her, so why would I do this? She isn't talking to me, although she had no argument for when I told her none of the other family know her symptoms. I don't know if her mother recognises them. Am I the arsehole? Now we're going to jump straight into the comments with this one, with Redditor saying, you're the arsehole, you should all know the signs for low blood sugar if you live with a diabetic. This isn't even a parental role thing, this is like basic human decency. And Jazzle84 says, slightly you're the arsehole. I'm an ER nurse and that is something you should know if you have a diabetic in the family. She could become confused, delirious or comatose from hypoglycemia. There might be times she can't effectively treat herself. I've seen diabetics die and far too young, or become comatose because their blood sugar was too low and no one around them knew the signs to look out for or what to do. You might not care for her much, but you should still educate yourself on the signs and symptoms of hypo and hypoglycemia. It really isn't a disease to take lightly, especially type 1. I said slightly you're the arsehole because it seems you were speaking more from ignorance than malice. And Pigeon Herd says, you're the arsehole. This child has been under your guardianship for almost 4 years and suffering from a life-threatening medical condition. And the best you can come up with is, moody, hope she grows out of it. I hope she moves out as soon as she's able. Your household is neglectful as fuck. Now, I turn this one to you guys. Have you guys got any experience with diabetes at all? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Sammy3033. Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my dad see my daughter after he disowned her? I'll make this short because I understandably hate talking about this. My wife, 38 female, and I, 32 male, have struggled with miscarriages. We've had 3 along with other health issues. We are desperate for a baby together. We struggled for years, and thank goodness we were lucky to find out that we were expecting a baby girl. My parents were thrilled, especially my dad. He bought clothes, toys, and checked on us, and made sure he was there to support us and his future granddaughter. Our daughter was born with a defect, Down syndrome. My wife and I knew we had many challenges in the future, but that didn't make us less excited or unhappy. My dad, however, had an awful reaction after he found out. He kept bringing up that it was my wife's fault, that I should have married a younger woman, which was awful of him to say. He said that he didn't want to have anything to do with this. He distanced himself and stopped talking to us and visiting us and took the stuff back. I cut contact, but my mum visited regularly. This happened years ago. My daughter is now 3. I'm in contact with my sister. She has a 1-year-old son that my dad spends time with, posts pictures on social media and brings gifts to. I couldn't help but feel hurt and anger. He didn't even try to reach out and it's been years. Recently I heard my sister got into an argument with my dad. She moved out of state and he didn't want her and her husband to move so he could see his grandson. My mum would visit and talk about how frustrated and mad my dad is. Despite telling her to drop it, she mentioned that my dad wants us to visit so he could start spending time with his granddaughter. I asked her what granddaughter because for 3 years he disowned her and for her entire life he's been acting like she doesn't exist. I can't remember the number of nights when I wake up to my wife crying because of what he said. Now my mum is calling me cruel for not agreeing to let him near my daughter. I argued with her and I saw that others started reaching out wanting to set up a meeting, but I refused to go. They're saying I'm robbing him of a relationship with my daughter, ignoring that it was a decision he made 3 years ago. Am I the arsehole here? The issue is this has been causing everyone around me to point their fingers at me, saying I'm being bitter and preventing my dad from having his granddaughter in his life. Nah, the only person that's robbed time with his granddaughter is your dad in this situation. He's the one who made the cruel comments about it being the wife's fault. Well, how does the wife feel about this? Because I'm damn sure she wouldn't want to see him around granddaughter either. And it sounds to me the only reason he wants to see granddaughter now is because the other grandchild is no longer in his life. And has he apologized? Not that that's going to make any difference anymore, but has he apologized? Has he approached you? I don't think so. Keep that man out of your life. He doesn't deserve to be in it, in my opinion anyway. He sounds like a very, very toxic and bitter person. But academic nobody says not the arsehole. He only wants a relationship with your daughter because his other grandchild is not available to him. Your daughter deserves so much better than that man. Tell your dad, mum and anyone who agrees with them that they can fuck off because you won't subject your daughter to such a disgusting person. I'm so sorry you and your wife are going through this. You sound like an excellent parent and I wish your family the best. But stick with your gut. You don't owe that man anything. And DCK says not the arsehole. He hasn't even apologised for his actions. He hasn't contacted you at all. For all you know, he still wants nothing to do with his granddaughter. Plus, if he mends things with your sister, will he drop your daughter once he has her son again? And sweet baby Grogu says not the arsehole. Your daughter is not a consolation prize for him. Now that his grandson has moved far away. He made his decision years ago. He does not have a granddaughter. And Lively Sally says, not the arsehole, but you are holding on to the blade of a knife that someone stabbed you with. You try to punish him now, but mostly hurting yourself. If I were you, I would tell everyone to stop this childish game of giving messages around. When your father wants to see you and your daughter, he can tell you himself. Although there is a chance he doesn't have the guts to call you himself and the immediate problem is solved without you being to blame. And if he really calls, you could, don't have to, meet and hear him out and get off your chest what you have to say. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What would you do in this situation? Would you do anything different to OP? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Out of the House 2021. Am I the arsehole for telling my dad not to bother with me because I'll be gone when I'm 18? My dad wasn't around when I, male 17, was a kid. Always working, and when he was around, he didn't do much with me. All school stuff, games, birthday parties were only my mum, while he would just be at home. Then it came out he was cheating on my mum when I was 7. They split up, but I stayed with my mum. He never visited or would say he is and then not come. I pretty much forgot about him until my mum passed away a year ago, and my life has been shit ever since. Don't worry, I'm in therapy. I got an awesome therapist and talk to her every week online. The thing is, I was forced to come live with my dad. I wanted to go with my grandparents, but he wanted me to be here with his family, and grandparents pushed me into going with him. My dad's trying to act like he hasn't ignored me all these years. He married the co-worker he cheated with, and they had my little sister, who's almost 2. She's a cutie and the only one I actually like in this house. Probably won't see her after this, but not like she'll remember me. My dad knows I don't like him, and literally every day he bugs me about doing stuff with him and his wife. I don't talk to them or do anything when they invite me. I make my own meals at different times so I don't sit with them at the table, go to online school, stay in my room, talk to friends, go to work or play with my sister, but never do anything with them. When I moved in, I told my dad this doesn't change anything with him, and I don't care if he decided to step up now that my mum's gone. I don't want to connect with him. Even when my mum was doing chemo, he never offered to help until after she died. He said he hopes to change my mind, but all I said was, good luck. I was off yesterday. My dad invited me to go out for pizza, but I told him no. He was fed up, I could tell. Said I need to start getting used to him being in my life again, and it's better for us to start trying to build our relationship. That made me snap. I said don't bother because I'm not going to be here for that long. As soon as I'm 18, in 4 months, I'll be out of their house and he won't see me again. My dad was shocked and he didn't believe me. But I told him I've been saving money ever since I started working a couple of years ago. I'm even already looking for cheap apartments and my boss is going to let me work full time so I'd make enough to support myself. Won't need help with college since I got grants and financial aid for that. He's been silent ever since and not trying to talk anymore. My stepmom gives me dirty looks. Earlier she said I was an ungrateful shit because I hurt my dad deeply, telling him I'm going no contact soon when he's tried to make things right. Don't see what the big deal is when we didn't see each other for years and it's obvious we know how not to be in each other's lives. But guess I wasn't asked for telling him I'm leaving. Was I though? And we'll start off with Saymaker saying not the arsehole, he deserved it. You could have held off on telling him to be more comfortable until you leave though. I don't think he deserves another chance at all. And Raphael says, do these people think kids and teenagers don't have memories? Not the arsehole. And Zay Joe says not the arsehole, he's just mad because he's a shitty father and doesn't want to accept it. If he truly wanted to be in your life, he could have reached out earlier. Sorry for your loss, I'm glad you're getting help. And Stress says not the arsehole, he doesn't get to expect anything from, and neither does stepmom, and she has some balls for calling you an entitled shit. That's strong words coming from someone that couldn't find a single man to date. And Check the Boxer says, not the arsehole, your dad was absent for years and expects you to be excited he's taking you out for a pizza. No, he has not owed an ounce of your consideration. Congratulations on being independent in a few months. Now I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys to see what you guys think of this situation. Do you think there is ever a slight ounce that they could get back, on some sort of even level, if that makes sense? Or is it totally done and there's no way forward from this point? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Throwaway No Lock. Am I the arsehole for removing the lock from the door of my rental property? I, 39 male, lost my job due to COVID. Luckily my wife still got hers and I have inherited my parents' house 3 years ago and converted it into a rental property. So we have enough income to provide for bills, food and school supplies for the children. 10 male and 6 female. Moreover, I occasionally do gardening for the neighbours in order to earn something. The tenant living in my house is an ex-co-worker of mine. He did not lose his job since he joined the company many years before me. In addition, his wife also has a decent job, so they have a solid income every month. Now the problem is that my co-worker just stopped paying the rent some months ago because in my country, not the US by the way, it is not legal to evict someone at the moment and he wants to take advantage of the situation. Clearly this is a problem since not only we lost a crucial income, but we also have to cover bills for the rental property out of our pocket and this is making a struggle. I am furious, so I asked my brother, who is a lawyer, what I could do to force the tenant to pay. He told me that since he has not been paying for more than 6 months, the house is legally mine. Even though I still can't evict, law is law. Therefore I can do whatever I want, so I just removed the locks from every door, the main one and the one on the back, in order to scare my ex-co-worker. Criminality is not exactly low here. It took a week before the tenant started paying again in order for me to add the locks again. However, he has been blaming me a lot since I put the life of his family, he has a 5-year-old son, at risk. Am I the arsehole? Now you know me, I love a little bit of nightmare neighbours and all that sort of stuff on TV, and you see this kind of stuff that goes on often. Obviously it's a bit different to this because this is all about COVID and all that kind of thing. But when people refusing to pay rent, and it really pisses me off when I watch TV and this is going on. So I sympathise with OP, and like if we take their story and everything that they've said, this couple does earn good money, they could still be paying rent, they just wanted to take advantage of the situation. So in my opinion, and I think it would be totally different, if this family was struggling and they weren't taking advantage of that actual situation, but they are in this case. So I think you were totally right to do that, and I don't blame you for doing it at all. And I'm of the opinion, that this person put their 5-year-old at risk in this situation, not OP, because they're the one that are refusing to pay rent and they were being shady about the whole situation. If I owned a property and I was relying on that as a source of income and someone was doing that to me, I would be furious as well and I'd be really pissed off about it. So yeah, I don't blame you. And I might get an arsehole judgment for that as well, but I'm sticking by my guns on that one. But dogs are my dog, says not the arsehole. All these people that are saying everyone sucks here, you're the arsehole because you endangered his family, are ignoring the fact that he could have called you the day you removed those locks to start paying rent and have them put back on. He didn't need to wait a week. He chose to wait a week to see if you'd keep getting by without paying you. He endangered his family by playing this game of chicken with you, in which he was definitely in the wrong. And the Kurgan rule says not the arsehole. This is the shit that pisses me off. I'm in the US and there are plenty of people who are doing the same as your tenant. The protection that was put in place to protect you if you couldn't pay the rent, not if you won't pay it. There needs to be some type of recourse for the landlords to collect the rent when people are scamming the system. Landlords still have bills to pay, mortgages aren't put on hold for the pandemic, water and sewer bills still need to be paid. I realise a lot of people have been affected by the pandemic, but scammers will always find a way to scam. Sorry for the rant. And Madam Cheshire says, not the arsehole, even a little bit. He knows you have kids and was willing to potentially let them starve. Okay, maybe I'm being a bit over the top with this part, or go without basic necessities because he's selfish. Your kids and wife are your first priority and he should respect that since he has a wife and child, but he doesn't. He's dishonest and greedy and he has no room to complain to you about endangering his child when he was more than willing to potentially endanger yours. And Melimpia says, oh right, he knows you lost your job and decided to add insult to injury by not paying you the rent he is obliged to pay. Only his brilliant idea backfired. Eventually, I'd probably also have tried to stop their access to water, heat and electricity and not just the locks. He himself is to blame for the fact his family got endangered. He had not acted like a shitty human being, he would not have to face any consequences. However, he made his bed and you made him lie in it. Not the arsehole. While your behaviour sucks too, it's more than justified. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you think about OP's behaviour in this story? Do you think it is justified or do you think he went too far? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that cheeky notification bell too. It's just sitting there, give that a little click too. And if you want to support the channel further, you can, but absolutely never any pressure to do so. But you can click the join button down below for YouTube or click the link in the description for Patreon. It is massively helpful. I can't express that enough, and just a huge thank you for doing you. It's really amazing. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.